Please, Kathleen Kennedy, stop ruining everything. But Kathleen Kennedy is all like, put another gay diverse woman in it, make it more f***ing lame. And the Disney stock just keeps going down and down and down. And then Bob Iger is all like, no, what's going on with my stocks? No, Kathleen Kennedy. Ah!
If you thought South Park had toned it down over the years, think again. The Savage Kings of Satire are back, and this time, they've locked sights on Disney. And not just any Disney mess, the Snow White remake. Oh, honey, it's a full-on roast. Disney's been scrambling to stay woke and relevant, pushing remake after remake like it's handing out flyers at a college campus. From race-swapped roles to rewriting storylines nobody asked for, the House of Mouse has officially gone off the deep end. And that's where South Park comes in. The creators saw the chaos, grabbed popcorn, and torched the whole thing. But at the center of this PR fireball, Rachel Zegler, the girl Disney handpicked to bring Snow White back to life. Yeah, that Rachel, the one who instantly stirred drama with her first breath about the role. From day one, the internet was not buying it. As soon as the remake was announced, people started side-eyeing. Not because Rachel was cast, but because of how she talked about the film. Instead of honoring the legacy, Rachel tossed the original under the bus like it was yesterday's leftovers.
Let's say less than nostalgic.
We've already covered how Rachel Zegler is a terrible choice for Snow White. Nothing about her says Snow White, and that's even leaving aside the fact that she openly detests the story, as she's said many times during this disastrous PR campaign.
Now don't get it twisted. People do want diversity in Hollywood. Real, heartfelt inclusion? Absolutely. But what Disney's been doing? It's giving checklist energy. Snow White didn't stand a chance. Let's just say, Snow White being described as having skin as white as snow? Yeah. Casting a Latina actress like Rachel Zegler was bound to spark cultural fireworks. And baby, they exploded.
She's not white, but she should be. Snow White needs to be white.
But oh no, casting drama was just the beginning. Disney didn't just reimagine the story, they gutted it. There's no prince, no real romance, and don't even ask about the dwarves. They were swapped out for CGI creatures that looked like they belonged in a 2012 video game cutscene, all in the name of progress. Spoiler, fans saw through it. They didn't clap, they cringed. Then Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the South Park gods, stepped in. They smelled the smoke and said, let's burn it all down. Their newest special didn't just poke fun at Disney's fake wokeness, they obliterated it. And poor Rachel, she didn't help herself. Instead of gracefully stepping into a legendary role, she took a mic and started dragging the original. She called it weird. She laughed at the love story. She called the prince creepy.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Then she doubled down. In interview after interview, Rachel alienated people who might have supported the film. She basically said, if you don't like the new version, don't watch it. Like, really? That's your fan engagement strategy? And the cherry on top? She casually dropped that her co-star Andrew might get his scenes cut. Girl, what are we doing?
It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
But Rachel didn't even need to say more. South Park had already locked in. They didn't exaggerate. They barely needed to. The content was already a meme. In joining the Panderverse, Cartman wakes up in a world where he's been replaced by a woman of color. Chaos breaks loose at South Park Elementary, and everyone's confused. Then PC Principal shows up, smug as ever, mocking anyone who dares question why every iconic character now has a diversity edit.
Okay. Matt, I had a dream that I was replaced by a diverse woman.
Oh, not again.
Yeah.
He throws shade like, oh, you probably didn't like that Indiana Jones is a woman now. Or that Spider-Man's black, huh?
You think it's perfectly normal that Cartman is suddenly a black woman?
You probably don't like that Indiana Jones got replaced by a female either, huh? Probably have a problem with Black Spider-Man, too.
South Park was just warming up.
Kathleen Kennedy is down on set right now ruining the new Bambi movie.
Any diverse woman in it, make it gay.
Bambi's a baby deer.
Fuck baby deer, put a chicken in, make her gay.
Then boom. They went straight for Kathleen Kennedy, the Lucasfilm boss and face of the Star Wars woke wave. The parody was so savage that even the internet lost it.
You were telling us about the South Park thing?
Oh my God, dude. Jamie, have you seen the new South Park?
I definitely saw clips of it.
It is so funny. First of all, Cartman has been replaced by a black trans woman.
Elon Musk, Donald Trump Jr. right-wing influencers. Everyone piled in to praise the special. Timely. Hilarious. Finally, someone said it. But it wasn't just conservatives laughing. Even moderates were like, okay, they kind of ate that. But liberals? They couldn't believe Cartman, the most morally bankrupt character on TV, was now the voice of reason. This is the same kid who once made another kid eat his parents' ashes in chili. Yup, that happened. And yet, here we were. Cartman, the moral compass. That's where South Park's genius kicks in. They don't pick a side. They expose the insanity on all sides. Meanwhile, Disney was spiraling. Snow White backlash was so intense, they literally paused production for reshoots. Yup, they had to bring the dwarves back after replacing them with CGI nightmare creatures. And fans, they were furious, especially the little people community, many of whom wanted to audition for those classic roles. Disney, in their modern sensitivity, ended up shutting out the very people the roles were meant for.
You were telling us about the South Park thing?
Oh my God, dude. Jamie, have you seen the new South Park?
I definitely saw clips of it.
It is so funny. First of all, Cartman has been replaced by a black trans woman.
Let's be honest, the hyper-realistic dwarves weren't charming. They were creepy, straight-up uncanny valley material. Disney tried to serve digital magic. Instead, they gave us digital horror. Memes blew up, side-by-side comparisons to PlayStation 2 graphics. And suddenly, the Snow White remake wasn't just problematic. It was a punchline. So what did Disney do? Did they walk into premieres with confidence? Throw a flashy Hollywood event? Nope. They hid. They quietly premiered the film at El Capitan, barely a whisper, then moved the European premiere to a literal castle in Sigüenza, Spain, far from cameras, critics, and chaos. They even dropped a promo. Spend the day with Rachel Zegler in Sigüenza. Girl, nobody's watching for the cobblestone streets. We're watching for the flop.
I'm waiting on a win.
This rollout wasn't magical. It was damage control in slow motion. A $250 million film? And this is the energy you're bringing? Rachel Zegler didn't just misstep. She detonated. What was meant to be a bold retelling turned into a total PR disaster, a branding nightmare. Because here's the thing, when you erase everything people loved about the original and replace it with hashtags and Twitter slogans, you kill the magic. You'd think Disney learned after The Little Mermaid. Sure, Halle Bailey got heat, but they kept the heart of the film, and most fans stayed on board. But Snow White? This wasn't updated. This was unrecognizable. And the problem wasn't just the movie, it was Rachel. She didn't just want to star in Snow White. She wanted to rewrite the entire fairy tale playbook. But not everyone was clapping. To a whole generation, Snow White isn't just about poisoned apples and evil queens. It's about innocence, about envy, about vanity and virtue. But when Rachel spoke, it wasn't fresh perspective. It felt like she was dragging the entire legacy. The Daily Mail called it a woke tirade. Variety accused her of trashing a beloved icon. One critic said, it's like she signed up for a movie she hates. And fans, they agreed. Why do the remake if you don't even like the story? But Rachel kept going. She claimed her Snow White was powerful, independent, didn't need a prince, didn't need romance, didn't need anything really. Out went, someday my prince will come. In came, I don't need no man, I got a throne to run. And Disney? They panicked. Rumors swirled that they begged South Park's parent company to dial back the mockery. But South Park doesn't do mercy. By then, the roast was already sizzling. And then came the final blow, opening weekend. Rachel Zegler walked into a near-empty theater to watch her own movie flop. That's not just awkward, that's brutal. The premiere was supposed to be a magical night. Rachel Zegler showed up with her crew, Ilda Mason, Jorge Mason, Remy, and Maria Isabel de Mason, ready to celebrate. But what they walked into? A ghost town. Empty seats, no buzz, no crowd, just awkward silence. Ilda tried to boost the mood, posting on Instagram and yelling Rachel's name when it popped up on screen. Rachel clapped and laughed, pretending it didn't sting, but you could see it. This wasn't the Hollywood dream she imagined. And those flowers? Not from Disney or the Academy, just a pity bouquet from friends trying to soften the blow. Because the real numbers? A nightmare. $3.5 million in previews, $43 million opening weekend. For a $250 million film, that's not a flop, it's a cinematic collapse.
Wait, how much did this cost? They should get Doge looking at this movie. They spent $250 million bucks making that movie?
Even Dumbo flew higher. Social media lit up with sad theater photos and savage memes. One post read, "Just me and the dwarves tonight." Another joked about starting a GoFundMe to help Disney recover. Then came the viral clip, young Rachel beaming into the camera. "I hope people wait in line to see my movies." Well, they didn't.
And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Fast forward to now, and the only line forming is the one online. To roast her, one commenter nailed the vibe perfectly. "Welcome back to reality, princess. Snow White flopped so hard, even Cinderella wouldn't pick up the pieces." And then came conservative commentator Ian Miles Chong, just waiting to jump in. He reposted the old Rachel clip to X, dragging her all over again and reminding the world that this remake now holds the humiliating title of Disney's lowest performing live-action adaptation in decades. And trust, he wasn't alone.
This is really a bad movie, and I apologize to Walt Disney himself. I'm sorry.
The internet crowned it Snow White and the Seven Flops. A fitting name for a $250 million film no one asked for, starring a lead who openly insulted the source material, and backed by a PR campaign that treated nostalgia like it was trash. Disney wanted a modern fairy tale. What they got was a cautionary tale. They thought audiences would line up for hashtags, buzzwords, and CGI magic. But audiences wanted heart. They wanted a love story, a fairy tale, a memory of what made childhood sparkle. And instead, they got a lecture. As the dust settles on this disaster, the question hanging in the air is louder than ever. Is this just a stumble for Disney, or the beginning of a bigger downfall? Because Snow White was supposed to be the crown jewel. Instead, it's now a glaring reminder that no matter how loud your message is, if you forget the magic, the people won't follow. And Rachel Zegler? She's now the face of a billion-dollar brand's biggest misstep. From starlet to scapegoat in one headline. That, my friends, is Hollywood in 2025. In 2025.